Alright, so I've got something interesting that, well, somebody out there might find interesting. I have two HBO and Cinemax guides, and they are from, obviously, 1996, and they are from the cable company that was local for us in the Lansing, Michigan area. I believe it was Continental Cable. I'm not sure if they changed over to AT&T Cable yet, but this was the actual HBO guide. We just called it an HBO guide, even though it had Cinemax on there. We actually only had HBO because HBO at the time showed the newest movies first, and then they went on to Cinemax. I remember Cinemax being about $7 or $8 a month at this time, and then HBO was more like $12 or $13 a month. So we paid the premium to be able to see new release movies immediately, and then of course Cinemax was like I think we used to call it the poor man's premium channel because it was just the afterthought. You know, when a movie came out brand new on HBO, they'd show it for a couple months, and then it would make its way over to Cinemax, and then it would be off for good. So I remember these two specifically. I was a huge Batman fan around this time, just huge. And even though I was actually really disappointed with the Batman Forever movie compared to the first two, I was still a Batman fan. So, of course, I ordered this. Actually, this one here I didn't order, I saved it. It's got a little bit more wear than the other one, but I actually saved this guide here, and it was just basically saving it for my collection, which I don't really have that much of a Batman collection. I just saved Batman things here and there. But this one here in particular, I do remember this. They would always send out these HBO guides about 2 to 3 days before the next month. And we got this guide, and on the 1st of February, I called to order another one. I basically just told them that we didn't get one, so they sent me out another one. And I had saved this one so that I would keep it for my Star Trek collection because I was a huge Star Trek fan as well at the time. And my mom ended up getting a hold of it. I had it in my room, and she was getting laundry or something like that. She found it. She said, "Oh, that's where that went." Well, she wasn't exactly very kind to things like this because, they're only around for a month, you throw them away, so who cares? So, a couple days later, when I found out she got a hold of it, it was in horrible shape. She had wrote on it. She was really, what she would do is she would go through and she would circle movies that she wanted to watch as a reminder, things like that. So the book, by the time she got done with it, was pretty messed up. So the very last day of the month, and I believe this was a leap year, so it was the 28th. It was like 5 minutes before they closed. I called and I asked for them to send me out a February guide. And of course, the guy on the phone said, "Well, February's over with. Are you sure you don't want a March guide?" And I said, "No, it's for my Star Trek collection." So, of course, when they sent it out, which they were kind enough to send them out, they hadn't thrown them all away yet. He wrote a note on here: "Customer wants February guide for Star Trek collection." And at the time, it was 32 cents to send these out. But you can see it was March 1st of 96 when they actually sent it out. So it was the very next day when they sent this out. So I have these two guides here, and I haven't seen them probably since I put them away in the box. But I've been looking through some of the stuff that I've collected over the years in some boxes and keepsakes and so on, and I found these, and I thought it was pretty interesting. Now, I'm not familiar with HBO and Cinemax guides themselves. I don't know the history on them, so I'm not going to pretend that I know everything about them. But I do know that these were pretty common if you had subscribed to HBO and Cinemax. And HBO was like $12 or $13 a month. Cinemax was $7 a month. And we just had HBO. It was quite a premium to be able to watch new movies as they came out without having to rent them in the store on VHS at the time. You'd pay $12, $13 a month, and you'd have basically a whole slew of movies that you could watch. And of course, the older movies went to Cinemax as far as the older new releases, and the brand new releases that were just coming out to TV would go to HBO first. So if you wanted the latest and greatest, you got HBO. If you didn't care and could wait a couple of months, you'd get Cinemax, if that's all you could afford too. Because that was actually a pretty expensive addition. I remember Showtime being very expensive at the time. It was almost $20 to have Showtime. So premium channels were very expensive. Disney Channel was about $10 a month, and the only premium channel that we actually had was HBO. My dad was very much into new movies. So anyway, here's the two guides. I don't know if anybody finds this interesting. I'm going to keep these, of course. I'm not looking to sell them or get them appraised or anything because I'm sure they're not worth anything. But it's just interesting to be able to look back in 1996 at this stuff that, this was, I mean, the internet was just coming out, but HBO and Cinemax at the time still did not have any kind of an online guide or whatever, and there was no TiVo, and this is how you found out what was on TV, just like back in the old days before TV Guide, or before people even started buying TV Guide, they would look in the newspaper. So anyway, these are the two guides here that I have. These are the only two that I have. I haven't kept any more. I do have a couple of TV guides, particularly Star Trek ones, which I haven't come across yet, but I do know that I have those. But if this is interesting to anybody, cool. I'm gonna keep these. I'm not gonna sell them or appraise them or anything else like that because I'm sure they're worth nothing, even to a diehard Star Trek collector. I don't think they'd be worth anything, but I think it's kind of interesting to be able to look back at some of the movies that were on at the time. I mean, you didn't have just new releases, but you could always tell that in prime time, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, the best new release movies would be out. And, that was prime time just like any other TV channel. So they wanted to make sure that people were going to be home and watch this stuff. It's kind of interesting seeing this, The Walking Dead from 1996. Today, Walking Dead is huge. But, so yeah, cool. Anyway, if you have any questions or want me to take some pictures of this or something like that, then let me know. But I think this is pretty cool that I've got these two here. I've got a bunch of stuff, baseball cards and things like that that I collected in the 90s, and they're not worth anything now, but I just think it's neat to be able to look back. Brings back a lot of memories. So take care, guys.